Hello, welcome to Mr. Morton Talks. I hope you're having a wonderful day. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a new concept that I've heard, and it's called a meta moment. And what it is it's really neat. It takes different pieces of several of my last videos. So the video about self-awareness, you might remember, self-coping stuff, motivation, problem solving. It takes something from each one of those videos and it kind of smashes it all together and makes it into this one concept called a meta moment. When I first heard the word meta moment, I thought to myself, oh man, could I come up with a better word than that? Because that's not the greatest title. But then I realized what meta means. So what meta means is you're actually talking about the thing that you're talking about. So we're talking about the moment that things happen. So when we say meta moment, we're talking about the moment of the moment. That kind of makes my head hurt a little bit, but I think you know what I mean. So meta moment is really just taking a look at the moment of the moment the moment is happening. Got it? The goal of the meta moment is to slow down the time between the trigger that we have and the action or the reaction because of the trigger. So we have to back up to what I've said before, self-awareness. You don't know your triggers if you aren't being self-aware. The first step of a meta moment is identifying your triggers. You have to realize those things that push your buttons, the subjects that you dislike, the people that irritate you, different environments, sounds, all sorts of things. You have to identify that and be self-aware of it. Step 2 is the word sense. I mean it in two different ways. Your senses and like how your body feels and the different things, but also trying to make sense of how you're thinking at the time. So making sense of how that trigger has affected your body and the way you think. And step 3, this is one I say in pretty much every video I ever make or any conversation I have with any student. Pause, breathe, just take a second. That's what step 3 is. If you can do that, you are halfway to making a way better choice for yourself. Step 4, think about your best self. When you can think about your best self, most of the time, you can start to act like your best self. I mean, can you think of a time when you were like, man, I really want to be this person that's encouraging to others and kind and caring, and then you go and try to tear somebody down with words? That usually doesn't happen. So when you think of your best self, it activates those traits and those actions, and that's what you end up doing, is you make those choices to be your best self. It helps you choose more effective strategies to help the situation. Step 5, strategize. You got to strategize. Instead of having negative thoughts and negative talk, turn it into positive thoughts, positive talk. Instead of blaming, reframing. Instead of blaming others and always being like, well, they did, reframe your thinking. Well, I guess in this situation, think about it a little different. Instead of yelling and screaming, you could actually do some problem solving things to help the situation. And step 6, you do it. You have successful interaction. So I just shared with you the meta moment 6 steps. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret. I don't think it needs to be 6 steps. I can't even remember them. I'm making this video of these 6 steps. I have to look back at my notes to recall each one. 6 is too many for me. Identify your triggers, the sense, how does this trigger feel inside your body and affect your thinking? And then 3, pause. 4, think of your best self. 5, strategize. And 6, successful interactions. That's too much for me. Maybe it's not for you, but it is for me. So I'm going to break it down to the ones I think it needs to be. 1, realize your triggers. Be self-aware. 2, take a breath. Pause. 3, think of your best self. After you think about yourself, your best self, of course you're going to act. I don't need to tell you to do that. You're going to do that. I'm not saying that the 6-step meta moment isn't fantastic and the whole idea behind it, but I'm just going to be real about it. I can't remember 6. I don't want to expect my students or friends to remember 6. Identify your triggers, know what those are, realize when one is happening, be self-aware. Take a breath, pause. While you're pausing and doing that deep breath, think of your best self. Think, who do I want to be right now? These people around me, they see me doing this. How do I want to react? Do I want to be this type of person, or do I want to be this type of person? You think of all that during the break or during the breath. And that's the step 3 is knowing your best self. And then you act. You just act. The last thing I want to mention about the meta moment is it really shouldn't take long. This is a very short strategy. Once you get to that breath where you pause, after that, it's over. I'm not talking about sitting down on a park bench and have a long conversation with somebody. No, I literally mean 1, 2, maybe 3 deep breaths, and then you're making your choice of what direction you're going to go. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I say, let's go save the world one meta moment at a time. Have a great week.